the Lambo and go drive it like it's stolen. I've been living wild, I'm just going through the motions. Stumbling out the Uber, grab my hand, gave me the notion. Swimming in your water, but it feels just like the ocean. I can't lie, I've really been addicted to you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. On my mind, I can't lie. On my mind, I can't lie. Pull you down till you dry. Pull you down till you dry. All the time, ease my mind. All the time, ease my mind. I know that you're dangerous, I'm addicted to you. I was sipping Moet for 2 years straight to the face. Champagne belly bubbles still won't go away. Last year my best man hit a stain with bare face. Now he's gotta help behind the water's cold case. I wake up with pain sometime and never go away.
Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you all to episode 39 of This, That, and the Third. This is your boy Hook. I'm here with the homie Shannon. Shannon, what's
What's
happening with
up? Ain't nothing. Glad to be back from the holidays, Them save money this year because I ain't buying nobody nothing.
you? I don't know.
Nothing.
Two girls. I spend entirely too much money, but it's
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
now I'm in recovery mode now,
Like I looked at my granddaughter, I was like, this ain't my kid. I ain't buying that.
right?
Yeah.
I know, right? Well, it's definitely good to be back, and we want to thank you guys for joining us. And tonight we're diving into a very powerful question: Is our
Yeah.
faith inherited, or is it chosen? How much of what we believe comes from family, culture, and tradition, and how much comes from our own personal journeys? So we want you to get ready for an honest, thought-provoking conversation that might just make you rethink what you've always known. So we'll go ahead and get into it. So Shannon, before we dive in and let Shamik and Adam tell people who they are, what are your
Mhm.
preliminary thoughts on this topic?
My preliminary thoughts are so, of course, you're reared in certain traditions and behaviors that you can describe as faith. But I do think as you become an adult, as you mature, you do um, structure your faith to be more based on how you have experienced your own personal walk, your own personal relationship. At least I think that's what most people do. But we gonna see. We gonna see.
All right, definitely. We're certainly going to dive into it. And
Mhm.
before we get started, we do want to give our guests an opportunity to tell you who they are. As always, ladies first. So Shamika, if you would please introduce yourself to the people.
Hello everyone. My name is Shamika Hatcher, and I always hate this question because I never know what I'm supposed to say. But I'm originally from Fresno, California. I travel all over the place. I live all over the place. But what do I do professionally? I'm currently a fourth grade teacher, but I am a practical theologian. So I have my master's in practical theology, and I'm currently in a doctorate program for intergenerational leadership in the Black context of the church. So there's that.
All right, good deal. Thank you so much for joining us, Shamika, as always. And Adam, you're a first timer, but tell the people who you are.
Hello. Well, first off, let me say thank you to you guys for having me. I'm happy to be here. My name is Adam China. I'm uh, native of South Carolina, Sumter, South Carolina. Right now, I split time between Columbia and Abbeville, and I serve uh, Flat Rock AME Church as pastor in Abbeville, South Carolina. I've been tomorrow actually will make 26 years I've been preaching, and proud father of two sons. I'm a widower, proud father of two sons, college student and a high school student. And I also have a Master of Divinity. And in May, if all goes well, I will graduate with my Doctor of Ministry this coming May, if all goes well. So thank you again for this opportunity.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you, certainly. And for the viewers, we certainly want you guys to react. We want you to comment. We want to read your thoughts as well. Share and also subscribe. So again, we'll go ahead and get into it, man, without
Well,
further
first of all,
ado.
Hook, I'm gonna say I'm gonna be on my
Yeah.
best behavior tonight. Because we got the divinities in the house,
Oh,
okay?
Hey man, I know, right? I know.
I
Hey,
have
it's
my
good.
wine on the side, but I don't chill out. Chill out. Okay.
Nah, it's gonna be great though, man.
I
And
know,
I
I know,
guess
I know.
to establish a little bit of context, right? So Shamika and Adam, and really Shannon, I wanna hear you what you have to say as well. Was church a choice for you growing up, or is it just something that you did on your own?
So I've always wanted to go to church. Like I remember some of my earliest memories are like walking to church with my sister and brother, you know, and it was always like a we got up on Sunday, we wanted to go to church. At least I did. Maybe mama made them go, but I was the youngest, you know, and I wanted to go there. I wanted to be there. So it never felt forced for me to want to be in church.
Okay.
um,
Shamika, Adam.
I guess I'll go. I went to church sparingly. My family, my grandmother was the only one that I knew in the family that was a devout Christian. So every single summer, we would have to go to a Southern Baptist church and be at church all day long. And I remember the stockings and the pops on the knees if I didn't cross my
Hmm.
legs. And then my grandmother used to give us after Sunday school, the school teacher, we would go inside the church and we have little peppermints. And then after church, after we've been there all day, my grandmother would buy those. She would buy McDonald's because on Sundays they used to be 25 cents for the little hamburgers. And
Ah.
my grandmother would never ever let you eat fast food or anything because she had foster children. So that was like our snack day was the little burgers. But I remember wanting to go to church more often. My mom and my dad just did not go to church very often, so they would go here and there until I became about 8 or 9, and then I didn't want to go to church anymore because when I started asking, you know, you go to altar call. I've always been this little inquisitive, kind of too smart for my own self kind of kid. I would go to altar call and I would ask the people, why should I believe in God? And they never gave me a good answer. So I became an atheist until I was 21. So my faith was chosen.
Yeah.
Well, me, I was raised in church. My father, was a pastor, was retired, but he's actually serving again. So he started preaching. He did his initial sermon when I was 6 weeks old. So
Mm.
that's all I've known my entire life. St. James AME Church in Columbia, and so that's all I ever knew growing up. And he became a pastor. Started pastoring a church when I was 2. So again, all my life, that's all I've known. And so, as a kid, of course, we went to church because you had to go to church. That's just what you did. I'm kind of like you, Shamika, in the sense that I would go, but I also was very inquisitive. I didn't doubt God in any way. I never doubted God or anything else. I just wanted to know why. Why do we do this again? Why, and it wasn't in a bad way. I really wanted to know. And so it was inherited at first. As I got older, I chose it because it wasn't just something I did because I had to. I looked forward to it. And it got to the point where I really got to the point where if I missed a Sunday out of church, I just didn't feel right. I didn't be in church. So that's my walk. Again, everybody has their own journey, but that was mine. I was raised to go to church. Parents, of course, were raised in church. Father AME, mother Baptist. Then she married my father. She became AME, and that's what I am. But it didn't. It was our choice. I mean, it wasn't a choice. Whether it was what was in us. It was instilled in us. And then as you got older, you realized that I never got tired of it. The more I went, the more I wanted to learn. And then before you know it, you were growing. And I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing now, because that's the last thing I ever wanted to do. But trust me, but that's what God called me, and I wouldn't have it any other way now.
I didn't know you went to
Yeah.
St. James AME on the little church on the hill.
That's why I knew your in-laws very well. Since I was
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Makes sense
And
now. Okay.
brother-in-law
Yeah.
too. Yeah, all of
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah.
And what I'll definitely say is I was raised in the church, but I didn't want to go to church. Like growing up, I only did it because they said I had to go. When I would say my prayers at night, I would lay in my bed and say the prayers. They make me get up. No, you say your prayers on your knees. It doesn't count if you say it lying on your back, right? And when I'm thinking is, I mean, I said my prayers, so it doesn't really matter. And with some of the reasons that I didn't necessarily care for church. One, we were there all day. We went
Southern
at 11.
Baptist. Southern
Yeah,
Baptist.
we went at 11 a.m.
Yeah.
On a good day, we'd be out by 1. So that's 2 hours. And there's all these offerings and this offering and that offering and building offering. When people would tithe, what they would do is we would have to walk up to the front and put in the basket, which I'm only a kid. I'm thinking, why did they want to see who putting money up there? So that way, if people don't go, like now, it's almost like you're bullying people into doing it because they don't want to just be sitting there. So that was one thing. Secondly, I want to dress up all the time. Why we got to dress up? Why we got to wear suits? Why we got to, God said, come as you are. So why do we have to dress up? It was all kinds of stuff like that. And another thing is I'm like you, Adam, I never doubted that God existed. I had questions. I was inquisitive. There were a lot of things I want to know because I was an avid reader growing up. So I would read the Bible, but when I read it, I'm like, well, that don't make no sense. Why this? Why that? My wife and I had a conversation the other night, and we were essentially saying how we talk about favoritism. There was favoritism ran rampant in the Bible. Because I'm asking, I would even ask this when I was younger. I'm like, okay, so if the flood waters came, I'm like, why did God save Noah's family and wipe out all these other families? I said, God saved Noah and his sons' wives. We don't know if they were good people or not. So there were other people that weren't spared from other families. Were they not good people? Like, why was it just Noah's family? So it's like I have all these questions. And when I would ask those questions growing up, the only thing they would say is, don't question God. I'm not questioning God. I'm questioning this. I'm being logical right now. But the difference is now, so I guess I can say my faith was inherited. Now it's chosen because I'm still a believer. Only difference is the church I attend now, which is Journey United Methodist here in Columbia. Like, I enjoy going to church. It's one thing I don't have to worry about getting dressed up. I can wear jeans, so getting up is not, I don't have to worry about focusing on what to wear. I can simply get up and go, right? Not just that, but the most important thing for me, I see what the church does. I see how they pour into the kids. I see what they do in the community. I see how they involve. It's not just this family or that family. They involve everyone. So there's no, if there are favorites in the church, I've never seen it. And so now, this is the first church I've ever gone to where I enjoy it. Like all before I went because I felt I had to, because I believe. But now, like when I go, it's not a struggle. I enjoy, I praise, I get up, and it really just makes my day. So I guess I say all that to say initially it was inherited, but now it's definitely chosen. Right. Now, one thing I do want to ask you guys, right? So I know that for the most part, you're saying that it was inherited. And Shamik, I know you said that for whatever reason you kind of fell off until you were 21 years of age, right? So have you guys ever questioned the faith you were raised in? And if you did question that faith, what really triggered that moment?
Well, for me, I never questioned my faith. That never was for me. I never questioned. I had questions, but I never questioned, my belief in God or Jesus the Christ or the Holy Spirit. What I'm grateful, and that of course, my father and I would have these conversations. Sometimes I would ask him, sometimes before church, sometimes on the way home, sometimes just seeing that. And to be clear, he never raised me to be a pastor. He just wanted to raise sons to be assets to society. That's all he wanted, just be good people. That was it. So I never felt any pressure that some pastors who are the sons of preachers felt. I never had that. But for me, he and I would just have these conversations sometimes, and I'd ask questions, and he would give me answers. And sometimes he would say, you know what, I don't know, but let's look for that together. And we do research together. And that's one of the things that I think, like for you, but they would say don't question God. A lot of our parents and grandparents and others would say don't question God because they didn't have the answer themselves. So
Right.
it's easy to say don't question God, which instead of saying I don't know. And the fact is, none of us knows everything about God. I don't care what school you go to. I know Shamika has her master's practical theology. I had mine, master divinity. Even with that, you know, all of the studying and everything else, there's some things we will never know about God. Okay, and so
Yeah.
For me, it was never really when I asked. I guess I learned. You know, I went to the source, asked questions, and then if we couldn't have the answer, sometimes we'd say, you know what, we don't know. God doesn't tell us everything, and you just have to, you know, your faith. That's where your faith steps in to know that I don't have all the answers. And now here I am, you know, almost 26 years of pastoring. Sometimes I have kids who come to my office. You know, parents will say, well, you know, they want to talk to you. Okay, sure. And they ask questions and I give them answers, and then I try to break it down as simply as possible. And then sometimes I say, you know what? That's a real good question. And I don't know. And it's okay to not know, because actually, to me, you build up people's faith when you can honestly say, I don't know, as opposed to trying to sugarcoat it or saying, he eat some candy and go, leave me alone. Or,
Hey, give me the mints now. Give me those mints.
Or doing like, you know, just finding something else to distract you, because instead of saying, I don't know. So that's what's helped me.
I know that one thing Hook was talking about is like the dressing up, having to get dressed up and the pomp and circumstance of it. And I know like people say that a lot, especially like about traditional Baptist churches, because I'm traditional Baptist. And that's one of the things that I enjoy about it. I like the tradition and the pomp and circumstance. But the thing that hurts my heart sometimes is that people will lose their faith because of traditions. And what I mean by that is that you can find a church home that suits you, your personality, how you like to do things, how you like to see worship led. But that doesn't mean the way that another church does it is bad, you know? And it doesn't mean that faith has to be challenged or questioned because this other church does something that you didn't like, right? You just need to go find where you are, where you feel at home. And that has nothing to do with faith, you know? That's just like whether or not I like red sneakers versus blue. It's just not what you like. Go find.
It's a preference.
Yeah, go find where you feel comfortable, where you feel led, where you feel fed by the Spirit, and be there. And it's okay if that's what you like, and if someone else likes something else. But I know you'll hear a lot of that all the time. I don't go to them churches because of blah. I don't go to that church because of blah. And I'm like, you're missing the whole point. You have different ways of worshiping God, and you go find what suits you.
I have absolutely questioned my faith. Absolutely. I absolutely questioned every single belief that I've ever had when I was in seminary in my master's program. I think a lot of pastors did. I also found my voice in seminary because I have always been like the quiet, inquisitive, read the book, not say much in the room. I started saying, okay, listen, I don't know about none of this. Okay, he died, did he? And I mean, and I was already an adult. I was already like working in the church and doing all the things. And then when I started preaching, it became a little more like a tussle through the scripture and through my faith. And the crazy thing, I love what Pastor Adam said was, you know, when you're in a pastoral space, I have a lot of pastor friends, and you find a safe place in which you can say like, hey, I don't have all of these answers and I'm kind of toiling. When you are called to be a pastor, you do not want to be a pastor. So usually you are toiling with a whole lot of things, but it keeps you in the posture of submission. And I think while you were talking, Shannon, you were talking about people losing their faith in tradition. There's a difference between your preference in house expression like what church you like to go to, and losing your faith. I think people confuse faith with church attendance. Um,
Mm,
faith is a fruit of the spirit. So
mhm.
we don't just inherit that. We don't inherit faith. Now, you can be taught how to practice into faith. You can be
Yeah.
taught how to submit into faith, but you cannot inherit faith. And I think sometimes people think like I would have a deeper faith if I had a better house expression, and that's not true. Like you should be able to develop faith in the dark corner in the middle of the Mojave. Like God is ever present all the time. And so I did want to touch on that, but yeah, I have absolutely questioned my faith. And I still wrestle with some things because as a pastor, they ask you very strong theological questions, and they want you to sit on those theological questions. They're like, is there heaven or hell? Do you believe in this or that? Is it, how do you believe salvation? And depending on the denomination, you get that answer wrong, baby, you're out of a job. So
Mm.
you know.
and
I like
and
what you said. You should be able to
yeah.
find faith in the Mojave Desert.
In the
Like
Mojave Desert.
you
I,
should.
I think people
Exactly.
get caught up in the socialization of church. And I think like
Yes.
all
Yeah.
of you guys mention that, and I think that's why a lot of people think inheritance. Like I always think about Proverbs 22 when they say, "Train up a child the way that you want them to go, so that they don't depart."
Mhm.
What people don't understand is that those were like wise sayings. Like that sounds great, but the truth of the matter is, people do leave the faith. They leave the church. They physically leave the church.
Mhm.
Especially right after high school, they exit and they go live their life, and most of the time they come back. The truth of the matter is, lately they have not been coming back, and
Mhm.
so that means it can't be inherited. And some of those things that they were taught into, some of the things that they bought into as a child, has not transferred into them actually having the faith of God. They have the socialization and the practice of the church, but not the faith of God. And so I think those are two different conversations that we're having. The faith has everything to do with your internals and how God is
Yes.
dealing with you and how you relate to God. And you attending church might be an expression of your faith, but oftentimes it is not, especially in the South. Y'all just go to church, baby. Y'all just love it. Sometimes it ain't got nothing to do with faith whatsoever.
Right. And Shannon, you're actually you're not wrong. And I say that because I never questioned my faith. Like there was never a point in my life where I questioned whether God existed or I questioned
Mhm.
my belief in God. What I did question, however, was not God himself, but I questioned the people in the church. And I say that because people have politicized church. It's extremely political. It's all about, to me, um, and I won't say for all churches, but and I won't I won't say which church because I don't know who's on or whatnot, but I don't want to offend anybody because I know people. One thing you don't talk about is politics and religion. But what I will say is, I think that the people who are in the church are not necessarily of the church. I'll put it that way. They go to church, and I would see people who I knew were doing dirt. I knew were committing adultery. I knew who were shysters. I knew who just weren't, organically good people. But I would see them praising in the church every Sunday. So again, me being observant, why would I want to be in some place and I know at that point it's simply a show, it's an act. It's you're saying one thing and doing something completely different. But that my faith still never wavered. So when I got older and I wouldn't go to church, everybody would say, "You need to go to church. Why didn't you go to church? Should have been in church today." I'm like, why am I going there for y'all to put on the show? Like I'll
Well,
have
how
my
do you know
own.
they're putting on a show? Like, how do
I
you know?
how
Like,
do I know? You
well,
like
because
you.
I guess what I'm challenging is like people are walking their own journeys with God, and
Hmm.
no one's perfect. So
Hmm.
I could be. I ain't saying me because I ain't no shyster, but I could struggle with the issue and still recognize that I can praise the Lord, even if I ain't worked through my issue yet. Is that not a thing too?
Well, the issue is not about, and I know no one's perfect, but the thing
Mhm.
is, don't admonish someone for if you're doing the same thing. You
Yeah,
know?
Well, yeah, that's hypocritical.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
that
Period.
remind,
Yeah.
this what you said reminded me of when D.L. Hughley had his show, his television sitcom, some years back. He talked about this. He said that he didn't want to go to church anymore because he said, I go to church, all I see are liars and hypocrites and addicts and all this other stuff in the church. Why should I go? And they said, well, if they can't go to church, where else would they go? So the fact is, all of us come to church with our issues and our shortcomings and our flaws,
Mm-hmm.
looking to work through them. So I think if we go to church, and I'm not saying this just to you, I'm just saying in general.
Mm-hmm.
When we go to church, if we go looking for perfection, we won't find it in church because everybody there is imperfect. There's a retired pastor that I knew. He said this one time. He said, if you ever go to church, he said, if you ever find a perfect church, don't join it. Because the moment you join it, it won't be perfect anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So none of us are perfect. We all come with our issues. We all come with our shortcomings. But we come, as Shannon said, in a sense, we come looking to see, yeah, I'm struggling with this, but I'm still coming looking for guidance. I'm still coming looking for direction. Because if we were going for perfection, then every church would be empty every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So we all come with our flaws and our shortcomings, hoping that God will work it out and work us out, work through us, help us to work through and fix whatever our shortcomings are. So I think that's big, and that's important to note that we if we come to church, and there's some people who I've heard, and I'm sure you all have too, who won't come to church because all I see is messed up people, this and that. Well, you messed up too. Just
Yeah,
come join.
absolutely.
Just come join other messed up people. We'll all grow together.
Mm-hmm. Cause look,
But
I know I be outside on Saturday, but I be at church on Sunday.
Outside on Saturday.
Yeah, I
outside.
know. And I wouldn't want anyone to judge my faith walk because they know that I like to go out. I like to socialize, right? That doesn't mean that I don't have a strong faith and a strong relationship with God. I'm not perfect, but I do um live life the way that I want to. And as I get older, I work through different ways I want to live life. And that's my personal journey. So I wouldn't want anyone to be like, oh, Shannon, I just saw you over here. So I can't believe you at church. Like, I feel like, how dare you? What? Yeah.
Well, I mean, who can judge anybody when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to where you are? I mean, all of us, as Paul said, all have sinned, and I should not have sin. All do sin. We don't like it. We try our best not to, but we all imperfect people. And one of the things that I believe is that if you are imperfect, and you can say God is still working on me, why can't God work on other people around you too? So how can you judge them if they're? I mean, you don't get it right all the time. Give them the same grace that you get. I've heard it. I know. I'm sure. Shamika's probably heard this, and I've heard people say, "Well, it's a pastor. They're supposed to be holy all the time and think holy all the time, 24/7." And I told them, I'm a real person. I do have real conversations.
Yeah.
No,
It's
you
not.
don't.
I
No,
don't.
you don't.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
real.
I don't. Right. I'm right. Sure. But
Be
people
real.
forget that they don't think that you human, you have regular conversations just like everybody else. But I was in a workshop once, and this one preacher said this to somebody who talked about the preachers this and that, and he said, your pastor, he said, God expects from you the same thing you expect for your pastor to be. So you expect to be holy, righteous, 24/7 and perfect without sin. That means God expects the same thing from you. So if you don't have it, don't look for it from the preacher or from anybody else in your church or anybody around you for that matter.
I'm going to jump in because I've seen a few things. I think that on the surface, I think that everyone kind of understands that they all sin, right? Or they have something. But because of this thing called shame and guilt, what usually happens is the people's sin usually sits like, in the dark corners of the night that they don't acknowledge, right? So it's easy to come into the space and see sin on someone else and go, how dare I be able to see that? So that's number one. I think the other thing though is that there's a lot of people that believe that if they admit to themselves that they are imperfect, that means that they have bad faith and they're a bad Christian. And so there's an internal struggle with people being able to hold the tension and hold the line between getting better with God and also being in the place that God would like for them to be. I think that people sometimes are uncomfortable with the fact that God sometimes has you exactly where you want to be inside the club, because he's working on something else, right? But that's too big for most people, right? And what I've learned is people that grew up in the church, the way that they relate to God sometimes is not in any fullness of how God actually operates with the church. So they have a very small lens, and they don't mean to, but if all you know is Sunday and Wednesday, and listen, I did all week, so I didn't grow up in church, but baby, when I got in church, I was in the church. So I know all the things, right? But I think that we also have to pay attention to the fact that people so much struggle with sin in their faith that they actually don't believe the grace that God has over their life. So when they see someone else struggling with something, the reason why they're judging and the reason why they want for that person to be punished is because they think that the thing that they're doing, they should be punished for. And so it's really like in this internal thing where they're like, well, if God knew that I just slept with that person, like God knows that, like I should be punished for that. How come I'm still okay? So when they see the pastor go sleep with somebody they're not supposed to, they go, how dare that man of God? Because they know how they feel when they go sleep with that person. And so I think as leaders in the church, like that is the space in which like I teach other pastors, like sometimes we have to pay attention to people's heart posture, like what they're saying without what they're saying, right? And faith is one of them. Like it's such a difficult piece because people are really struggling with thinking that they are supposed to be perfect. And so, yes, your pastor is supposed to be. The amount of messages I didn't got, like, oh, you're a woman of God. That's not modest. You're a woman of God. Why are you there? You're a woman of. Listen, baby, I've been a woman of God. I've been a fake woman of God. I've done the dresses. I've done the shouting. I've done all the things I was supposed to do disingenuously because they said that's what a woman of God was supposed to do. And now that I'm in the place where this woman of God does the things that I'm supposed to do unapologetically, that does not look like what Christian women are supposed to do all the time. Okay. So yeah, you absolutely are going to struggle with that. And then yes, where the people are, the mess is, and that's everywhere. But we have a very high expectation for the building of the church. So in the church, we want everybody to be on their best behavior. And we want to, I think this is the funniest part to me. This is the funniest part of Christians to me. They are okay with the sin as long as you can't see it. Let me not see it. Like listen, you slept with that lady, I bet not ever find out about it. You had that baby, you should have went to Oklahoma.
Forget that you actually did it. Just that nobody knows you did it. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. And so I don't think anyone really realizes that's how they function, but I think it's the shame and the guilt. Again, it's that like if nobody knows, like if I deal with it in my quiet corner at night before I go to bed, then it's okay because that's how you're supposed to deal with your kid. But if I go to church and I see you cry that thing out, but then you go back to it, I'm gonna be like, how dare she? She was just crying and shouting. How she do that? Like, why is she still crying? Why are you crying and shouting? And then on Saturday you back with that man?
Mind your business. Mind your business.
Right. And this is
what
yeah,
you was
I'm
saying.
sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, based on what Shamika was just saying, reminded me of what Matthew Henry said, of course, centuries ago, but I was reading a book he had. He said that the Pharisees love sin, but they hated sinners. And that's really what a lot of people, even in the church, they love their own sin.
Yeah.
But I hate your sin. Because it's easier for me to look at your sin than it is to face my own. And that's unfortunate, but that's, I mean, if you really did a lot of church history, you'd be surprised how it would shake you. And I see Shamika, she knows what I'm talking about. It would shake you if you really understood church history and a lot of the things that we think and that we never believe now. If you really went to the origins of the church, you'd be surprised. And I tell people at Flat Rock, that's wonderful, love being there. I tell them all the time that you forget that the people in the Bible that we lift up, they're human too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had, so the same struggles you have, they had them too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so even though we honor them, we learn lessons from them, they shape a lot of our beliefs. We also remember that they are human beings just like we are. So they had the same struggles you have. So therefore, don't look down on anybody else, because you know you got your own struggles. But at the
Absolutely.
same time, understand that if you live a real life and if you're honest with yourself, none of us have it right.
Yeah.
None of us are perfect, I should say.
Absolutely. And I have a couple of major takeaways already. But there's one thing I did. I didn't have this plan to ask, but the conversation kind of is leading me to this place, right? And it's really based on something that you said, Adam. You said that yeah, you're a pastor, but you're still a human. You still have real conversations. You still have, you're just like any other man, right? Now, do you guys think that there is, especially given the recent goings on with the whole
I
with
knew I knew what you
I
was trying
call
Right,
to
it
laughing.
I call
I
it
know
dress
what
gate.
you
I call it dress gate.
Don't
I
talk
call
about
it I
Dressgate.
call it dress gate, right? But my question is not necessarily just about that, but do you think there's an unfair standard that pastors or clergymen or first ladies or whomever, do you think there's an unfair standard that they're held to as opposed to general members of the congregation?
You talk to me or should be?
No, you go
Both,
ahead,
both.
pastor of 26 years.
Oh my Lord. I would say this. Um, I would say unfair, but also unrealistic.
Yes.
Okay, it's unrealistic, I believe. Again, and I love what I do, and I thank God for what I mean. I'm still amazed sometimes that God would choose me, and I don't say that. I say that humbly, not as a sense of pride. But yeah, I think that there are times people expect your pastor is not Jesus. And I think some people they confuse
Now that's a bar.
Mhm.
they confuse
Bar
Jesus
Yeah.
with Christ.
bars.
And
Bars.
that is not, your pastor is not Jesus. So we expect our pastor to be Jesus. Your pastor is just trying to lead you to Jesus. Your
Mm,
pastor is not Jesus. And so that's unrealistic. And I think some of the demands that that many churches in particular, they put on their pastor is just unrealistic. And unfortunately now, um, I've seen instances where pastors die young and die early because they have tried to meet these unrealistic expectations, and they meet their demise earlier than you would think, just because of the pressures of trying to lead the church.
Mm.
Again, for me, I grew up in the pastor's house, and I'm one myself, and I love what I do, and I give my best to the church, but I've also not put too much pressure on myself, and I don't let them put that much pressure on me, because you will give everything to them, and you'll be dead and gone, and they'll hire somebody else and move on.
Yeah.
So I think it's unrealistic, and it's unfair, because there is no grace many
Yeah.
times for the pastors. That same
But we're
pastor
all human
prayed,
beings.
but right, but we are, but some people forget that,
No.
and
mhm.
unfortunately, there are some people who, again, they forget the same pastor who prayed for you when you were in your mess, and they led you through it. If he stumbles or she stumbles, then I can't believe that, and then your faith is shattered, and you don't, they're no good, and they were fake, and they're just like you. They're just like you. So I think that's one of the things that I
Yeah,
think it's unfair and it's unrealistic.
yeah.
Yes, everything that he said, absolutely. And because I am not technically pastor, blah blah blah, of any church, I get away with a few things that I probably would never get away with if I was a pastor of blah blah blah.
That's what you be getting away with.
Listen, and but most of it is social media stuff though. Like there's a lot of we're gonna put it this way, there's a lot of red tape around where you can show up, where you can go, what you can do. It's like you can do it, but bet nobody see you. Kind of.
Mm.
Mhm.
And so I preached one time on New Year's, and there happened to be pastors in the space, and I said pastors don't have an extra sprinkle of divinity, and I've been saying that for years. And what's funny is, you know, I thought that was for the congregation. The pastors came up to me and said, I didn't even know I didn't have an extra sprinkle of divinity. There are pastors that do not understand that they are under the same God with just a different assignment. And the reason for that, if we're going to be honest, in the Black church, the way that we hold pastors is too close to how we hold Jesus.
Mhm.
He is our man of God. That is our woman of God. That is our, and I think I think because we have this strong sense of honor and honoring our leaders, which is beautiful, I think that mistakenly becomes like idle and too much reverence, right? And I think that it's really easy to get there, but it allows for a lot of people to not understand that that pastors are very human. And I'm like, you know, the saddest part about it, though, and I was explaining this to someone, is that pastors are quite lonely most of the time, and people don't know that. And the reason for that, if you think about any high leadership, leaders have to be around other leaders. Pastors usually have a house of their own, which means everyone in that house is underneath them. So there is no peer in the house, which means their pastor friends are outside of the house, but they spend most of their time in their house, shepherding over their sheep. And so pastors are often extremely lonely. They might have someone they can call and say, hey, I'm kind of dealing with this. But as far as being able to work hand in hand with someone, as far as being able to walk with someone, be discipled with someone, they often do not have that opportunity. And so when people are like, oh, I don't know why the pastor did that. Well, the pastor's alone. He's shepherding over hundreds, thousands of people over and over. He does not get checks and balances the way everyone else does because he's shepherding over everyone else. And then you put unrealistic expectations on him, on the wife, on their children, on anyone connected to them. And so the amount of pastors that have committed suicide is astounding. And we don't even talk about that enough. The amount of
because I have no idea what you're talking about.
At all.
No, they
Right.
back a lot more than you know.
The amount of pastors that burn out and just leave and never return to ministry. I'm talking about they never return to a church house ever because of the way the church folk did them. And the dress gate is a great example because let's put it this way. Now, I wholeheartedly believe that pastor and first lady knew that at some point somebody was going to see that dress and they were going to have an opinion. Now, that would just be, smart of them to know that if they were outside, even if the dress wasn't whatever people thought it was, they were going to take a picture and speak on whatever they had on. So that's number one. Now, where it gets dangerous is now we create these two human people that are having a human experience into a debate about morality, ethics, and modesty. So now they become the idea of how do we challenge modesty in the church, and should women wear, and should you that forgetting that there are two humans that have to read every single piece of commentary, every single text message, they're getting the phone calls. You're forgetting that those are humans on the other side of these debates. So are these debates important? Yes, but you're forgetting that someone has to go to sleep at night sitting on their brain that the whole church is upset with them because you wore a dress to an event. And we're talking about, there's so many dynamics. We could spin this into a whole bunch of different things. We're talking about a woman of God who already is getting pressure from everywhere else because she is a woman of God. She's a first lady and she's a doctorate, which is already how dare you? You shouldn't be preaching. You shouldn't wear that. You should let your husband speak. It's already all kinds of things on top of that.
And she's glamorous, but she's been that way before. I think sometimes too people think first ladies are supposed to be demure.
That's what they
and
think.
not.
That's what they think. A lot of people think.
Yeah. So she already presents very put together.
But that's not appropriate in the traditional church, and we know that. And she knows that. I mean, everybody knows that. But as we're talking about it, that was the other piece I was going to say. Imagine being a pastor. You're already lonely. You already don't have that many peers. Even pastors that are very popular don't have a whole lot of peers they can sit with all the time. And then you have other pastors of influence talk about you disrespectfully from the pulpit, following every
Yeah.
sermon for 4
Yeah.
weeks. Imagine
Yeah.
how lonely that feels for maybe even to be for pastors that you respect. You read their work, you like what they do, because pastors often respect other pastors' work, and they come and they have an opinion about something that really, listen, baby, it's not that big of a deal. It's really not in the grand scheme of things, but they have a strong opinion about now what you're doing over at your house and your ministry. And so, and we don't, I don't think we think about what we're doing to the mental health of our leaders. I don't think we care. I don't think it's a conversation, because in most people's head, your pastor who is called to pastor also has the strength of 1,000 gods in order to be able to pastor you or something. Like, people have no clue how very human and how very intense it is for you to shepherd over other people, and how deeply you feel all the things that people say, how they receive you, how they experience you. And so I think we need to be mindful of that.
I think piggyback on what Shamika was saying. People forget, and we've already said many times, that pastor's human. If you cut me, I'm gonna bleed just like you will. And when you say these things and you these harmful, like that dress gate, that's harmful. I mean, number one, he's with his wife, and if he's fine with it, what else is there anybody else to say? That's number one. Number two, I love the Lord. I'm saved. I'm sanctified. I love Jesus, but I still got a little Peter in me. And if you get on your service and you live stream and call my wife a whore, you gonna meet Peter. And I'm talking to Peter who pulled out a knife and cut the man. It's certain things. I mean, it's because at the end of the day, he's a pastor, but at the same time, that's his bride.
He's a man.
You know, and I wonder how he would have felt had someone said something about the way his wife was dressed. You know, I mean, whether it was inappropriate, whether you thought it inappropriate, whatever. If I said something negative, you have a problem with that. So I think, again, unfortunately, you catch arrows as pastors. Not only do you catch it from members, sometimes you catch it from some of your colleagues.
Yeah.
And one of the things I have learned is I have many colleagues. I don't have many friends.
My point.
In ministry, that is. My brothers, of course, yes. And then I have a few. I have a group of us, and this is in this group is lay people and preachers. It's about 11 of us total. I thank God for them, because when we come together, we don't have to be so holy and pastoral. We can just be real people. And the fact is, it's hard for pastors to be around regular people and be themselves and not have to remember that I'm with my members. I can just be me.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just talk and not have to worry about having the pressure of, saying the wrong thing where the member's going to go back and say, the pastor said this, or the pastor did this, or, and again, and I'm about as laid back as they come. I'm a homebody for the most part. I mean, I do church and pretty much home. That's it. That's pretty much it. I'm not outside like Shannon. I'm in the house. But that's okay. But the fact is, I've been that way because I learned years ago. I've been preaching at this point maybe about a year and a half, and some friends of mine went to dinner. Some of my coworkers, because I worked in television news for many years before being a full-time pastor. And so we went out, cool. We had Red Lobster. They were waiting on our table. So they said, well, y'all have a seat at the bar. And okay, we're sitting there. So some others had drinks. I don't drink, and I'm not against those who drink. That's just not what I do. So I had a virgin daiquiri, strawberry daiquiri, because I love strawberry smoothie and strawberry daiquiri. So that's what I'm sitting there drinking. Well, a little while later, I see some people from another church, and they speak, and I'm like, hey, good to see y'all. And I'm just, just talking. A few weeks later, somebody tells me, watch where you go. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're drinking. I'm like, drinking what? Because those who know me know I don't drink. I'm like, what? Drinking what? And I'm like, and then it dawned on me, wait a minute. I was sitting at the bar, waiting on my table.
Yep.
Having a virgin strawberry daiquiri. All they saw was the pastor sitting at the bar.
Yep.
That was a lesson for me almost 25 years ago, that I learned don't even go. So now, even if I go to a restaurant where you have to go to the bar to make your order, I place my order there and I go sit in the corner, just because somebody take it and run the wrong way.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
But it's
I
reality.
agree.
It's reality.
It's reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why a lot of
Aw.
I get invited places now with friends and I don't go. And it's
I
not.
don't go.
And it's not that I mean, I sometimes I'm like, man, that would be fun, but no.
That's
thank
why you ain't come to my debate party.
That's exactly why. That's exactly because I would have loved to. I saw it and I was like, oh wow, she thought to invite me. That's nice. But I said, no, because
Not coming.
there will always be somebody there.
And I didn't even consider that. I did not consider,
There will be
because to me it's
somebody.
just a bunch of people sitting around talking, right? But I didn't consider
Doesn't
It's
matter.
the perception of something.
It's all-
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And again,
never a bunch of
You
people.
don't have to do anything wrong. You don't have to be doing anything wrong. Just you were there.
Yeah.
And I guess when you look at it, it's not the pastor who's heaping these expectations on themselves. It's really the people of the congregation and all these other things. Because I remember
Or the
quite a few
others.
quite a few years ago, we had a barbecue at my grandmother's house when she was still living, and our pastor at the time, he came. And our family, we drink. That's what we do. We have bottles, everything, right? And the pastor was about to walk in, and they walking around, put that bottle in the cup, put
Yep.
that beer in the cup, and all these other things, right? And I'm telling them, and I'm like, I said, God know I drink, so what difference does it make if the pastor know I drink or not? And it's like they're rushing to, and I'm like, because the way I looked at it, because the pastor at the time, he was cool. Every time we saw him, we never talked about church. If I saw him outside of church, we dapping up. We talked like so I thought it was good, but I guess they were like, hey, you know what? It's not appropriate to drink in front of the pastor. Even though we at my grandmama's house where we drink at every day.
Again, the sin is okay as long as no one sees it. But
Right.
that lets you know that that's not in their head. It's a sin. Because if they were
Absolutely.
comfortable with it, they. But yeah, no, it's.
But sometimes they say it's just reverence, right? You're just showing reverence for.
It's not.
To a certain extent, it's like you appreciate it, but at the same time, so what? Like I when I do weddings, right? Of course, the pastor has to be there. When I do the wedding, I go to the reception long enough to bless the food and sign the license, and I'm out. Because you know what? The time I stay, many times if I've stayed, they waiting on they watching to see when the pastor leaves so they can start drinking.
Yep.
And in my mind, I'm like, I don't really care. I don't care. Just
They like he gone yet?
Drive
He
safe.
gone?
Don't be responsible. But they just think, okay, the pastor here.
Yeah, the pastor here. We got to be on our best
the
behavior.
gas station. I have been
Yeah.
gas. I used to pass around the corner from your church. I'm hooked. On Longtown Road, and I passed there for 16 years. And sometimes I would see members like in the gas station, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And they go to trying to hide the bottle, and then they want to tell you like how good a Christian they are. I just love the Lord, or that sermon you preach, and I'm like,
but that's why pastors don't be having no friends, right, except for other pastors. And that's why sometimes when people be like, oh, I can't go to that church, the pastor don't even let me get to know them. Now, when I first was a baby saint, I was like, why can't I know the pastor? Number one, I'm a bulldozer, so I'm gonna go know the pastor. I'm gonna tiptoe my way over there. You gonna know me, because I don't like going places you don't know my name, especially if I'm there all the time. But I understand it now that I'm in a different position of leadership and I have a different lens. I was at a friend's house, mind you. I used to run track. I used to be an athlete. I'm sitting there and I lovingly call them my boys. I'm there with my boys. Like we ran track together all of high school. So we kind of have like this reunion in the summer in April around someone's birthday. And this particular gentleman was like my best friend in high school. Now he's all excited that I'm a pastor. I don't know why other people are excited about this, but I hate when they say it out loud. So we're at the house. We're having a good time. His other friends come and they're having an open dialogue. Now, mind you, I've always been the only girl in the room usually. So men talk the way that they want to talk. That's fine. Don't bother me. We're cackling. We're having a good time. And for whatever reason, this man goes, y'all, guess what? And everyone's like, what? They're like, guess what she does? That's what he says, because he's proud of me and he's excited that I am not stuffy like what he thinks pastor should be. So that's how he prefaces. He goes, guess what she does? And everyone's like, I don't know. He goes, she's a pastor. Do you know that no one would open their mouth to say anything the whole rest of the night? All of a sudden now I got a pastor. Because now nobody's a normal human. And people
Everybody like we telling God on ourselves because we talking in front of her.
Right.
Listen, when I first moved to Atlanta, there's a group of, and see, they gonna kill me. There's a group of coworkers that I went out with, and I dance. Listen, if you know me personally, if you know me, I dance. Music comes on, I'm out my seat. I just am. But one of the other coworkers go, I'm surprised she went with you because she's a minister. Do you know that the other person goes, a minister? The way she was dancing? Now, I was dancing. I was having a good time, but it reminds you that like you have to be places where there are not eyes, because people do not expect for you to function out. They expect for me to sit there and be like this.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the only expectation of holiness that they have.
And I think I had flack for my social media posts because my social media posts are not all religious. I laugh. Stuff is funny to me. I'm gonna laugh about it. And I get people all the time say, I didn't know pastors, could laugh. I'm like, but then that means you don't know enough pastors.
Right.
I promise you, we some of the funniest people around.
The funniest.
Yeah. And I told somebody, they said, well, some of the stuff you put on Facebook, I said, it's not vulgar, it's not dirty. But yeah, but just for a preacher, I said, well, listen, you should be glad you would be amazed at the stuff I suppress that I don't share. So take this for what it is. But the fact is, again, it's just and this goes back to what we were saying earlier. It's all unrealistic. The are unrealistic because we have a certain image in our mind of what a pastor would be like. If you see me, and I'm like you, Hook, on the 4 Sundays, I love 4 Sundays because on the 4th Sunday, that's our dress down Sunday. I'm gonna have my jeans and my sweatshirt on. I'm gonna have my they're gonna see my San Francisco 49er jersey.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, they're gonna see my they gonna see
Cowboys.
I knew I liked you for a reason.
Go Cowboys.
I knew I liked you for a reason.
What time y'all play Sunday, Shannon? Anyway.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Clay. Don't worry about it.
But one of the things I like is that they've seen that, as a pastor, I'm a pastor, whether I got on jeans and a t-shirt or a suit or a robe. The fact is, it's not about all of that. So, and I even tell the congregation, like my sons, when they come to church, well, my oldest son, he's in college now. He doesn't come back with me that often now. But my youngest one, he's with me. He has on a sweatshirt and hoodie or jeans or whatever. You don't have to be suit and tie all the time. I don't care about that because that's one of the things that has kept a lot of people, especially millennials and those younger, from coming because they're just not into that now.
But they need to dress up. They be out here running amok.
No, don't get me wrong. Don't come in there with your
that's your age
phone and all of that. But but the fact is,
my age.
That's her age. But don't say that because I'm a little older than her. So
yeah, I know, but that usually that posture of
but no, you're right. But that's how we were raised growing up. You had to be dressed up to go to church. And but the thing is, one of the things I tell people, that's our tradition. That's not necessarily biblical.
Yeah.
I never have seen in the Bible where Jesus put on a 3-piece suit and tie.
Right.
Well, I was just talking in general, not just church-wise, but yeah.
But again, it's tradition and it's cool. I wear suits. I have I wear them, most.
I think people should dress up going outside every day.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's fine.
I'm one of them people.
Listen, if you run into me at Publix, you're gonna see me with a sweatsuit on.
Facts.
And some yoga pants.
Well, not even if not dress up, but look put together.
But if I'm going out,
put yourself together.
If I'm going outside, which is maybe once every other year, I might.
They are put together.
I'm gonna put on something, yeah. But other than that, that's it. But the fact is, when it comes to church, I think we can't put so much pressure on people having to dress a certain way, especially this day and time when churches of all denominations numbers are falling. The fact is, you'd be glad for whoever comes. As opposed to saying they're not dressed this way or that way.
Right.
We glad
it'll change. That changes with maturity as well. If you let younger kids wear whatever they want, they get around women like you that are in the church that dress a certain way, that walk a certain way, that talk a certain way, and they are going to mimic you. And that's what you want. You want the socialization. And I was just talking to someone about that, but that's very important. So, that's why I said it's your age showing, because there's a dignified thing that happens the more mature that you get, right? But there's women that when I was in my 20s, I was watching them. I was watching how they came in them heels. I was watching their little prayer shawl. I was watching how they kneeled and how they prayed. And so, like, you want to give younger people that opportunity to come and to look raggedy and to not know how to put it together and to not know what Spanx are and not know what a slip is. And then you go to them and you say, "Ooh, baby, listen, come here. Let me help you with your undergarments. Come here, baby, let me help you with your hair," because that allows for community. So now you get to be the beautiful older woman with the red lipstick, and you get to see little baby so-and-so come in with red lipstick every Sunday because she sees you with red lipstick. And so that's how community starts to build.
Yeah, and to that point, I remember one time a gentleman in church taught me how to wear a suit. I forget what it was. I think I buttoned one button too many or something like that. And he was like, "Young man, come here." And he was like, straighten me up. And but it was subtle. Like, he probably would never remember it, but I carried that with me, and I remember, okay, this is what I need to do. So to that point, I get that. And Adam, you said something, and I just had an epiphany, because when I got married, we had my wife's pastor, the church we currently go to, and we had my pastor from my home church, from my hometown, right? They both pastored us. They both ministered our ceremony, and we paid them both. And they signed the marriage certificate, and after that, we didn't see them anymore. They like, and we're like, because planning the wedding, we planning the reception. I never got married before. I didn't know, but it's like we had a place for them to sit and all the other things, and we're like, "Where they at?" But they left. I'm like, "Oh, maybe they had
there."
I'm like, maybe they had something else to do." But when you just said, because the fact that people want to enjoy themselves at the reception, they may not have enjoyed themselves as much with the pastors there. So it all makes sense now.
No, that's exact. I mean, I'm telling you, when my members will tell you, if I've done the wedding, I only go to the reception to bless the food and to sign the license. If I can sign the license at the church before they leave, I'll have fun.
But you don't go get your plate. You better go get your to-go plate.
Look, Wendy's is right around the corner.
Piece of cake.
But the fact is, and it's not that you don't want to go have fun too. It's just that they're gonna be watching you.
Yeah,
be watching you. When I got married, my late wife, I remember, man, I had a ball because we had family friends there, but I didn't care that day. This wasn't the pastor, this was me. And we got there, we did I got the Soul Train line, my fraternity brothers, we doing our party hops and all that. I mean, we had a good time. And it felt great because I didn't have to worry. I mean, I guess I didn't care then, everybody's watching me. But when you come in a pastoral setting, as the pastor rather, they're watching every little thing. So therefore, my thing is, all right, let me do this, and I'm gonna leave so y'all can have fun. Not because y'all bother me, because I'm bothering y'all by my presence.
Yeah. And y'all be bothered when pastors be in the space, because as soon as y'all find out a pastor,
I don't.
Well, not you. You not normal. the average person tightens up. They get a little.
I saw my pastor at karaoke, and I was so excited. I was like, "You at the karaoke?"
I would love to do that. But no.
And that's why I get in trouble, because I do all of that.
But I value people being normal, right? I feel like I can relate to you more because I know you're normal, right?
Well, you feel that way, and that's great.
Yeah.
And I applaud you. But the fact
most
is, people don't feel.
Yeah.
So I would love to go karaoke and sing and hang out. I would love that. I've only done karaoke one time in my life, and that was at somebody's house with only like 7 of us there.
Oh wow, I got you.
Yeah. But
now, Adam, what fraternity are you in?
Phi Beta Sigma.
All right, I got you. I won't say nothing bad about Sigmas while you're here. That's all.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Nah, that's all right though. But I do have, before we peel out though, man, I do have one final question. Well, not final question, but really, I want you guys to give, because this really, I have a lot of takeaways. I had a lot of stuff I've been writing down, a lot of things I'm gonna pray over, a lot of things I'm going to research on my own. But I want you both, I want all three of you actually to give us like what's the takeaway you want to leave the audience with, the viewers. Like what is one major theme, one major takeaway you want them to take away from this conversation? And Shamika, we're gonna go ahead and start with you, sis.
I don't know why you did that because I didn't have nothing. I was waiting. Okay. I guess my takeaway would be to have empathy. I feel like a lot of times when you're in a church space, everyone's kind of judging people's deliverance or their salvation or their righteousness. They're always trying to figure out, you know, where they are in their walk. And if they're not where they think they should be, then there's a judgment. And so I think what I'll say is just have empathy. Like it's a big difference between people that grew up in the church and people that have come to the faith after. One is not better, one is not worse. But I think that we need to be mindful that you do not just welcome God into your life and then all of a sudden your life is cleaned up, righteous, beautiful, and white as snow again, like some people would like to believe. And so have empathy for yourself, have empathy for others, and take everything to prayer, because sometimes y'all mouth be on stuff that prayer should be on.
Good stuff. All right, Adam, what you got, sir?
I don't really want to follow her. That was outstanding.
Right.
I think again, I agree with her wholeheartedly. You know, be empathetic, but at the same time, if you, I hear people all the time say, "I'm real." I'm just real. Well, you know what? Let everybody else be real too, and understand that again in your faith walk, you stumble sometimes. Give them space and grace rather to stumble and correct the same way that you need it. And I think church would be so much better if we were that way, and if we would come to church and not, again, as I said earlier, don't come expecting perfection, because you won't find it in the church. The church itself is not perfect, because the church is made of imperfect people, and you are not perfect. So even in your own faith walk, you're not perfect. So therefore, extend the grace to others that you expect to receive yourself.
Absolutely. All right, Shannon, let's get your Shannonism.
I'm just going to take away the point that your faith is not built at church. Your faith is built when you're alone. Those times you're by yourself, those times that you're doing the work and thinking about what you believe in and how you feel about things that are happening in your life and how you feel about Jesus and what he means to you. And just taking that away, that is not about inheritance, or it's always about how you develop it. Because even if someone gives you something as a child, you make it into what you experience as an adult.
Sure. Thank you so very much. And this was a great conversation, man.
It was.
I thoroughly
And I
enjoyed
ain't
it.
up.
Yeah, I know, right? So Shamika and Adam, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Thank you all.
I have so many takeaways, so many things to dissect after this. My major takeaway though from tonight, and obviously I'm gonna look myself in the mirror, because every time a pastor does something wrong, I'm guilty. I'm like, oh, he's a man of God, she's a man of God, they know better. How did he trying to lead us and they doing whatever? But the biggest thing that I took away was God expects the same from a pastor that they expect from the rest of us. And whether a pastor sins or not, their sin is no greater than ours if we do the exact same thing. And so that's we oftentimes we put them on pedestals, but at the same time, they're still men, they're still women. And like y'all also said, a lot of times we as a congregation, we relate the pastor to, or we treat the pastor like they're Jesus. It's not the pastor saying that, that's how we treat him and that's how we see him. But we also have to realize they're human as well. So this was great.
You have been delivered. You've been delivered.
This is, hey man, no, listen, this was a great conversation. And Adam and Shamika, we would love to have you guys back. So there's so many different topics we can spin off of this. So if you guys are open, we certainly will be inviting you back. This was great. So thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate it.
You need to bring them back around Easter.
Right?
People dressing up.
Right. I know, right?
Dying eggs.
Exactly. And to the viewers who are still with us, make sure you guys continue to share, react. We want this to reach as many people as possible. Shannon, and as always, you already know how we roll.
That's right.
I certainly appreciate you. Love you.
Love you too, babe.
And again, this was great, man. Until next time, we're certainly gonna bring you more great content. So until then, stay curious and stay informed. We'll be talking to you.
Bye, y'all.